Hi, fellow rock rebels, and welcome back to Backstage Pass Rock News. Brian Johnson, the powerhouse voice behind ACDC, takes us on a journey back to his humble beginnings as a struggling musician. From his early days in Newcastle to enlisting with the Parachute Regiment, known as the Paras in the UK, Brian's path to rock stardom was anything but ordinary. It's here that he first donned his signature flat cap, a nod to his roots that would become an iconic part of his image. But Brian's story doesn't stop there. He opens up about the momentous challenge of replacing the legendary Bon Scott, a task many would shy away from. Despite the pressure, Brian stepped up and made history, bringing his unique energy to the band just in time for their first major tours across Canada and the US. Join us as Brian Johnson shares these incredible stories from the road, giving us an inside look at his journey from a small-town lad to fronting one of the biggest rock bands in the world.
I wanted to be a singer in a band, and of course, I realized that I didn't look like a rock singer. So I knew I had to try harder, and I had to try harder than anybody else. And I was just determined to do it, when the better bands in Newcastle came to me and said, "Hey, you've got some good pipes there, you come on, join the band." And then they saw the size of me per year, they just went, "Oh, I'm sorry, mate, you need 100 watt per year." And they were about £200. I couldn't believe it. I cannot afford that. And then later that week, a friend of mine, Jimmy Shane, come running in. He said, "Brian, I'm going to join the Parachute Regiment. And because you get a £200 bounty." I said, "Really?" So, it was like the National Guard, Parachute Regiment. Oh, I signed up and thinking, well, we're not really going to jump out of aeroplanes, it's just the National Guard. Boy, was I wrong. And the next thing I knew, I was sitting in net on a plane, taking off to do my first jump. And I remember sitting there, and a guy's going, "Stand up," and he moves it to stand up, and I'm going, "Oh, Christ, hook up." And I was going, thinking, John Lennon, Paul McCartney, Mick Jagger, out doing in London. At parties and getting high. I said, but they're not as high as friggin' me. And it was a leap of faith. It really was. Back when I say that, it really was. And, I got to the door, looked down and went, "Oh, good." And I just jumped.
Wow.
Like most of the things I do in life. We were at a place called Lobley Hill Social Club. It's a working men's club. And I had just come straight from work. And I was putting vinyl roofs on cars at the time, and windshields and all of that kind of stuff. And me hands, I didn't even have time to get washed. I came straight from the garage that I was working, and I ran straight on stage. I was filthy. And, and my hands were covered in glue and, bits I've tried to rub off, but that stuff doesn't come off that easy. And I remember I was sweating. It was packed. The club was packed to the rafters, and I was sweating. And my brother Morris was there, and he come in and he said, "Jesus, Brian," he said, "your eyes are red. Red." And I went, "Oh, I know, I'm sweating. I'm trying to rub the sweat out my eyes." But of course, the glue and everything was getting in there, and was really stinging. He said, "Here, put this on," because he had a sports car, you see. And he said, "Put this hat on, it will stop the sweat running in your eyes." And I went, "Okay, I'll give it a shot." And I went on, and there was a cheer went up. Because in that part of the world, that's what everybody wore back in the day, was these flat caps that you were a working man. And a lot of them still did. And I put it on, and there was a bit of a cheer went up, and it worked. It worked perfectly. I loved it. And at the end, we'd finished. Of course, it was soaking. And I said to Morris, "Thanks, mate." And he said, "I didn't want that back." He said, "Yeah, you keep it." He said, it was absolutely soaking wet. And that's how it started, through me brother Morris. No, it was a mix. I know on Highway to Hell tour, the boys supported a lot of bands, Kiss and people like that, and when the first gig I did on this side of the pond was Canada with ZZ Top, and then the next night I don't think we had anybody supporting us. Oh yes, we did. That's right. I forgot who it was. But I was that excited to play in America. I didn't care what was happening. I just wanted to see it, and I just remembered the American audience being so warm and yahoo-y, and it was brilliant. I just went, bloody hell, this is fantastic. They weren't they weren't conservative in the slightest. They just went conkers. And it was fantastic, and I just warmed. The first night we did our very first gig in Belgium, I remember getting through that door, like I said, and seeing all the banners. All the banners there, R.I.P., Born R.I.P. But right in the middle, deliberately placed there, was a double-fisted one with two guys holding it up in the middle, and it just said, "Welcome, Brian." And it just touched us. It gave us so much strength to carry on because, we know that. And it was a special evening. That was, when we came off, I'll never forget, in the dressing room, and everybody being so happy that it had worked, and the relief, you could see the weight fall off Malcolm and Angus and Cliff and Phil's shoulders. The weight just got, because we'd done the album, the kids hadn't heard it yet, it hadn't been released, but we played 6 songs of it. I did not know that until one of the super fans told me. Which was very brave, doing new material.
Until next time, Rock Rebels, live life loud.